President John F. Kennedy died at approximately 1 o'clock Central Standard Time today here in Dallas. He died of a gunshot wound in the brain.
The assassination of American President John F. Kennedy took place at a moment when he was passing through downtown Dallas in his highly secured motorcade. At that time, he was accompanied by Secret Service agents and an entire police motorcade. Not only that, but the FBI had been keeping an eye on this route for several days. Despite all this, he was attacked near Dealey Plaza on November 22, 1963, and was killed on the spot. Minutes after the attack, the CIA, FBI, Secret Service, and police were in an uproar, but despite putting in so much effort, they could only bring one shooter named Lee Oswald within the law's reach, or perhaps they didn't want to. Was this a well-thought-out conspiracy, or did a lone shooter outsmart the world's top secret agencies and shoot the most famous president from just a few meters away? The official story was hard to swallow for anyone. There was also a direct and fast route from the airport to the banquet where the president was to go, but why was his motorcade brought through the city? Who planned this route? The official story claimed the person who shot him was a coincidence or part of a plan, but the reality is that he got a job at the book depository just a month earlier through a phone call. How could a woman in a scarf be seen taking photos at the murder scene in the video footage, and why has she never been found to this day? And what was her connection to all of this? Today is August 1, 2024, but sometime around about 61 years ago, American President John F. Kennedy was attacked and killed while in his motorcade. The death of the president plunged millions of Americans into mourning, and the investigation into this case failed to answer many questions people had. It is believed that the top secret agencies of the U.S. hid a lot regarding the assassination and did not disclose the truth to the public. There are many reasons for this belief, the first being the venue selection. President JFK was supposed to give a political speech in Dallas, Texas, and there were two options, the Trade Mart and the Women's Building. The White House recommended the Women's Building, but Texas Governor John Connally wanted the president to attend the Trade Mart. The reason was that the Trade Mart was a banquet hall, while the Women's Building interior was unsuitable for the president. Finally, on November 14, 8 days before the assassination, the Trade Mart was selected as the venue, but this news was not made public. Now it was time to decide how to get from Love Field Airport, where the president's plane was to land, to the Trade Mart. Normally, presidential motorcades are taken on routes with minimal obstructions or turns. There was such a route that bypassed the city and could take the president to the Trade Mart, but it was not selected. Instead, a road passing through the city and right by the school book depository, where the shooter attacked the president, was chosen. If you think this route was specifically planned to attack the president, you're mistaken. Yes, this was done at the president's request, as he wanted to pass through crowds of people. However, if the Women's Building had been selected instead of the Trade Mart, the motorcade would have taken the main road to the east, increasing the distance from the book depository, and making it harder for the shooter to target the president. Since the president's wife, First Lady Jacqueline, always sat on his left, she would have come between the shooter and the president. The selection of the Trade Mart as the venue was crucial in the planning of the president's assassination, and as you have learned, this selection was made by Texas Governor John Connally. His intentions cannot be questioned because he was himself in the presidential limousine with his wife when the president was attacked. He was also shot but survived. Additionally, Governor Connally was against this route from the start and wanted the motorcade to go outside the city to the Trade Mart. But someone had made all these calculations long before. The president's motorcade and venue were publicly disclosed only 4 days before the assassination, meaning this information was not known to anyone before. However, something happened at the school book depository 2 months earlier that indicates someone had this information beforehand. Yes, exactly 2 months earlier, there was suddenly a staff shortage at the school book depository. In September 1963, a person named Wesley Frazier received a call from an employment agency offering him a job at the book depository. Wesley Frazier lived in a town called Irving, half an hour away. He reached the book depository the next day, September 13th, and was immediately hired by the superintendent, Roy Truly. A month later, on October 15th, Wesley's neighbor also approached the superintendent on the phone and, coincidentally, was hired the next day. Wesley's neighbor was none other than Lee Oswald, who was to be arrested 39 days later for President JFK's murder. Due to his lack of a driving license, Oswald couldn't commute daily, so he rented a room in Dallas. He would go home to Irving with Wesley on weekends and return to the book depository on Monday mornings with him. This routine continued for about a month, but it broke on November 21st, the day before the assassination. On Thursday, November 21st, Oswald went home to Irving with Wesley, saying he would stay in Dallas for the weekend. The next morning, when Oswald left with Wesley for work, he had a long paper bag, claiming it contained curtain rods for his room. Just half an hour before the assassination, Oswald was on the 6th floor of the book depository with some colleagues. It was noon, and everyone went to the first floor for lunch, but Oswald stayed alone on the 6th floor. A crowd had gathered outside the depository to watch the president's motorcade. Some employees of the depository were watching this scene from the 5th floor windows. At exactly 12:30 p.m., the president's motorcade arrived, with the president sitting on the right side of the car and the first lady on his left. The governor and his wife were in the front. As soon as the presidential limousine took a left turn from the book depository, the entire area echoed with the sound of gunfire. A reporter was recording the scene with his camera at that moment. Some people said 2 shots were fired, while others heard 3. One bullet hit the president in the neck, and another hit his head. The limousine driver quickly drove the car away from the location, but President John F. Kennedy might have died at that moment. Some described the shooter as black, and others as white, but a police officer in the motorcade saw a person firing from the 6th floor right after the first shot. Without wasting time, he rushed into the building and went to the 6th floor but found no one there. Within minutes, the entire building was sealed by the police and FBI, and no employees inside were allowed to leave. However, one person was missing among all the employees, and that was Lee Oswald. Oswald had probably left the book depository immediately after the action. He first went to his room, changed clothes, and took his pistol before leaving. The police, already searching for him, had alerted all patrols in the city. A patrol officer spotted Oswald, but before he could do anything, Oswald fired 4 shots at the officer, killing him on the spot. Oswald then hid in a nearby movie theater, where the police soon found and arrested him, taking him to the police headquarters. For the next 2 days, the police, FBI, and CIA interrogated him extensively, but no recordings were made of these sessions. Whatever happened behind closed doors, there is no evidence of it. On November 24th, while being transferred from the police headquarters to jail, Oswald was shot dead in front of the media and police by someone. He died in the same hospital where President Kennedy was taken. This was the official story disclosed, but many witnesses claimed the person they saw at the 6th floor window was not Oswald. Before being shot, Oswald kept saying to the media that he was innocent. "Nobody told me yet." The first thing I heard about it was when the newspaper reporter in the hall asked me that question. If we analyze this entire story, according to the police, Oswald cunningly and meticulously planned this assassination alone, evading the FBI, CIA, and police intelligence. But people say that if Oswald made such perfect plans alone, how did he make so many mistakes in the end, such as fleeing the building, killing a police officer and raising more suspicion, or hiding in a movie theater? After President Kennedy's assassination, many investigation reports were published, but each report only made the matter more confusing. After Oswald's death, a theory emerged that perhaps those who planned this entire scheme had him killed because even if it was a conspiracy, it was impossible to execute it without insiders. Many believe the FBI and CIA were also involved in this conspiracy, as Oswald was a former U.S. Marine and was already under FBI surveillance, but they still hid this fact from the Secret Service when deciding the motorcade route. During the investigation, Many pieces of evidence were destroyed, such as the 3 bullet shells found on the 6th floor, which were removed without being photographed initially and then placed again to be photographed later. The initial videos made by the police from the firing spot also disappeared. However, one piece of evidence regarding the shooter was recorded, which could have solved the mystery. During the shooting, almost all photos and videos captured a woman in a scarf with a camera, taking pictures of the assassination. This scarf is called the babushka, which was a common fashion accessory at that time. This woman is referred to as the babushka lady. Despite years of FBI investigations, this woman could not be identified or found, and the film of her camera is still missing. This incident of the babushka lady was also not included in the Warren Commission report, which was established to investigate the assassination of President Kennedy. If this was just an attack by a lone shooter named Oswald, why is the evidence hidden even today? And if this was a well-planned conspiracy, then those who planned it are even more sinister than Oswald. What do you think? Do you believe this assassination was the work of a lone shooter, or do you see a bigger conspiracy behind it? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.